This is USVI News, your Virgin Islands connection.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us for USVI News. I'm Emily Matson. We begin today with the very latest on Hurricane Ian as the powerful storm slammed into the state of Florida. Large portions of Florida's Gulf Coast are dealing with the aftermath of Ian's destructive power. The Category 4 storm made landfall on Wednesday with 150-mile-per-hour winds, just short of a Category 5 storm, providing for dangerous storm surges. And those fast-rising floodwaters overwhelming several cities. Sam Brock reports.
It's devastation that was predicted, but the grim reality of this storm's raw power defies imagination. Ian, now a tropical storm, hit the coast as a fierce hurricane, shredding homes apart in Placida, Florida, tearing off roofs and splintering trees, while in the Tampa area, extreme winds causing this tree to crash through a home. In one of the hardest hit areas, Fort Myers, there were storm surges nearly 7 feet high, nearly double the previous record more than 20 years ago.
Oh my God.
The massive surge of water leaving entire communities completely underwater.
You want me to come out?
Roads looking more like the ocean for block after block. Ian packed catastrophic 150-mile-an-hour winds, knocking out power to more than 2 million customers.
We have seen life-threatening storm surge, as was predicted. We've also seen major flooding that's going to rank as one of the top 5 hurricanes to ever hit the Florida Peninsula.
This team of emergency responders unable to respond. A massive wall of water swamping their fire truck.
Now we have a truck issue and the guys are pushing the truck out of the bay.
In Port Charlotte, hospital staff working through the storm to protect patients. Other first responders struggling to help those in need, unable to start rescues until after life-threatening conditions subsided. Despite repeated warnings to leave, some people did not or could not evacuate. They found themselves stranded by a 12-foot storm surge. Mark and Elizabeth live in an apartment in Venice Island, Florida, but at the last minute grabbed their air mattresses and hunkered down in this Sarasota office when her boss offered it to them. Others stayed behind in the flood zone, trying to help those who were unable to leave.
And I wanted to help the people in here because they're good people here in Paradise Bay.
The destruction left behind by this massive blow from Mother Nature is just starting to come into focus.
Wow, such devastation as Florida is dealing with a Category 4. Or now, it's since been downgraded, but they're still dealing with the effects of Ian. Puerto Rico is still trying to recover from a hurricane that hit about a week ago. Puerto Rico's Congresswoman Jennifer Gonzalez Colon took to the House floor on Wednesday, sharing the devastation Hurricane Fiona left behind on the island. She says roads, bridges, and other infrastructure have been damaged or destroyed by the heavy floods and landslides. And as we've been reporting, once again, the power system crashed and the island was in a blackout. Gonzalez Colon adds Fiona essentially wiped out their agriculture industry.
The agricultural sector that was expecting finally the first normal productive year after the devastation of Maria lost everything again. We lost 90% of our agriculture in plantains, bananas, and many others. And back to square one. I mean, across the land, Lares, Patillas, Ay Bonito, Guanica, mostly small or family farms, now at risk of simply never coming back.
To visit the island and see the devastation for themselves. She's asking FEMA and the USDA for additional help in recovering and rebuilding the island following Hurricane Fiona. And FEMA says it's moving along well in efforts to harden the power grid across the U.S. Virgin Islands. According to FEMA, substantial progress has been made to create more resilient power grids throughout the VI since Hurricanes Irma and Maria left thousands of homes, businesses, and critical facilities like hospitals without power 5 years ago. And what you're seeing on your screen now are several composite power poles, which WAPA installed in June on Midland Road on St. Croix. They plan to install more than 8,500 of these composite poles across the territory, which are made to better withstand hurricane-force winds. More than 6,300 have already been erected, and this project is now 74% completed, according to FEMA. And WAPA and FEMA have also teamed up to bury electrical lines in St. John. 4 electrical underground projects are underway, which they say will make St. John's power grid more resilient. This partnership between FEMA and WAPA over the past 5 years is all to increase year-round reliability and also strengthen the power grids in order to better withstand future storms. So when disaster strikes, ensuring the Virgin Islands has a dependable power source. FEMA has approved nearly $722 million for these permanent repairs. Hurricane Fiona hit Turks and Caicos last week. While it was mostly spared the storm's wrath, it did cause some damage. Our USVI News' DeAndre Hamilton has a status update on the relief efforts in the TCI.
When Hurricane Fiona hit the Turks and Caicos Islands on Tuesday, September 20th, the governor and premier of the islands were out of the country. However, the leaders have now returned home and are assessing the damages of the hurricane to get operations on the island back to normal. Governor of the Turks and Caicos, Nigel Dakin, on Saturday, September 24th, reported that all airports, ferries, and shipping lines are open and digital communications, for the most part, have been re-established across the islands. Dakin noted that the causeway between North and Middle Caicos requires long-term work, and Middle Caicos is having electricity issues as several poles are down on the island. In the country's capital, Grand Turk, electricity is back for all critical infrastructure. Approximately 94% of customers in the Turks and Caicos have electricity restored following the passing of the hurricane, according to Fortis TCI. Though the Turks and Caicos was not severely impacted, Governor Dakin encouraged residents to prepare for a potential second hit. In a statement Friday, Premier Washington Mizik expressed thanks to God for guiding his country through the Category 3 hurricane, noting that it highlighted the need to always be prepared.
First, I express collective thanks to God Almighty on behalf of all the Turks and Caicos Islands for his grace and mercies to our homeland, and for the fact that there has not been a single loss of human life from what turned out to be a very powerful storm, despite early predictions. The lessons learned highlights the unpredictable nature of hurricanes and the necessity to always be ready. The progress made by the Turks and Caicos Islands team, based on lessons learned from the 2017 hurricanes, have been impressive.
DeAndre Hamilton reporting for One Carolina.
And as we inch toward the end of the week, COVID-19 cases remain steady in the USVI. There are currently 75 active COVID cases territory-wide, with 50 on St. Croix, 24 on St. Thomas, and 1 active case on St. John. And nearly 1 in 5 adults who have been infected with coronavirus still have long COVID, according to the CDC. Those suffering report a wide range of symptoms, but one of the most common is loss of smell. So here's more on how experts say you can retrain your nose to regain smell.
If changes in your sense of smell went along with your COVID-19 infection, you're not alone.
Up to 90% of people had some loss of smell.
Most people get the sense back. A study published in August shows around 90% of people with mild COVID before the Omicron variant who lost taste or smell fully regained the senses within 2 years. Others still suffer. Health experts say the loss of smell isn't because of congestion, but rather a change inside you.
This virus actually affects the cells that are directly responsible for your sense of smell. Way up near the base of your skull and the base of your brain. What happens is that not only do you lose your smell, at least initially, but 3 to 4 months later, when these cells are supposed to sort of redivide, you could lose your sense of smell again.
Doctors say you can retrain your nose to regain your sense of smell, and these 4 scents can help: rose, eucalyptus, clove, and lemon.
Use your nose to smell these scents over and over again. You can slowly potentially start to regain some of that smell over time.
A research article published earlier this year suggests essential oils with those scents may help a person recover the sense of smell by stopping inflammation and helping cells regenerate.
And researchers say other essential oils known to have anti-inflammatory effects may also help with smell recovery as well.